Now, my question is this, because I saw the apology and I thought it was great that you apologized. Now, can you also empathize with the people that felt that you were using the suicide stuff as a shield to protect you?
Sure. You know, what I'll say is this, my 10 to 15-year-old self was the hardest fucking time in my life. I'm grateful for it. This was my first rite of passage in life. Every day I got the shit kicked out of me. Like I said, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
But here's what I remember. In middle school, my bus driver killed himself.
Oh, no.
And every day prior to that, I remember looking in the mirror just wishing I wasn't this fucking guy. Zero self-worth, totally humiliated and embarrassed of the human that I had become. When he killed himself, now I fucking knew it was possible. You know, and I knew the world would be better without me. I could talk more about those years if you want me to, but a couple years later, my best friend's brother killed himself. I've had talks in my family about people wanting to kill themselves. Just last week, we had a 14-year-old girl close to the family kill herself. And you know what? Nobody wants to talk about this.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are people not talking about this? 4,000 people a day do it. 80,000 people a day try to fucking do it. Somewhere along the continuum, people are suffering and struggling at record fucking rates. So this is what I would say back. Number one, this is why I'm fucking here. The only reason why I'm here. And then secondly, I think when somebody has the opportunity to talk about it, you better fucking talk about it. It's dangerous if you don't. It's irresponsible if you don't. So you want to laugh and say, oh, he's just saying this to do that thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you're not laughing, but other people are saying, oh, he's shielding.
No, I was very for me, I'm very sensitive with that kind of stuff because I have close family members who have been suicidal.
We all have.
100%, right? So like me not knowing those things about you, my knee-jerk reaction was like, whoa, are you using this thing as a shield? I've seen certain people use the suicide thing as a shield for like protection from the ugly beliefs they have. Like it's a topic that's used often to be like, well, I know I said this fucked up shit, but by the way, did you know this is happening to men? We need to look out for men. We need to be careful, and we need to nurture them. And everybody's forgetting men. When you tell me that you've had these close people in your life kill themselves, immediately I empathize. I go, oh fuck, man, he really does care about this stuff. He went through a tough time in his life. His kids couldn't even fucking breathe. You're trying to find ways to make life easier for people. Now you're a person. Now you're Brian Johnson. Yeah. Now you're not Liver King. The problem with creating the mascot of the cartoon is they don't have feelings. They don't have family. Yeah. They don't have emotions to the consumer, right? Fucking the guy on Captain Crunch, I don't know what he went through. Right. I don't know how many cousins he got. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just the Captain Crunch guy who sells me Crunch Berries. And that is...
look kind of similar.
Yeah, exactly. The benefit of being Captain Crunch is you can be everywhere.
Yeah.
But the problem is nobody gives a fuck about your feelings.
Sure.
So for me, that makes me feel better when my knee-jerk reaction was like, ooh, I think that's a shield. And a shield that I'm really sensitive about.
If you can talk also to that, because I think the perception some people might still have is, yeah, but the perception, not the reality, is, yeah, but you didn't really start talking about this until you got exposed. So if it mattered to you so much, why weren't you leading with that before? And I could be wrong. I might not have watched enough videos.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I saw you talk about it. I saw you talk about it before when I was doing some.
So you've been talking about this the whole time.
100%. But 100%, but the people who aren't consuming all your content are once again just going to see it.
Oh, no,
so that's why I think it's. To be honest, why I wanted you to come on here, we don't do gotcha interviews. That's not what it's about. I just want to know what's going through, like what was going on in your life, and as these things happened, and as you saw this, kind of runaway train happen. Like you said, you wanted to go in the email from like the followers you had to 1 million, and then you became one of the most viewed people on the internet in a very short amount of time. You get all these DMs that are reaffirming the good that you're doing. It's very easy probably to block out the lie when you have 15-year-olds going, thank you so much for helping me. You go, okay, we could do that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying you're Castro, but it's like, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that were in Cuba going, oh, this shit is great. Thank you. We finally got some food. A bunch of other people going, what the fuck is going on? What happened to all my riches? The road to, this just seems so exaggerative, but like, what do they say? The road to
hell is paved with good intentions.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions. You know what I mean? Now, I don't think that you're going to hell for this, but you do seem to have good intentions, and I do believe the intentions. It's a very tricky thing. It's a very tricky place you're in.
You wish that you had told the truth when asked?
Of course. Oh, 100% I wish I had told the truth when asked. I mean, but we're fucking so far past that.
And why did you not tell the truth in that moment?
Yeah, well, like I shared earlier, it's like I had convinced myself of probably 16 different fucking reasons. The primary ones were, this has nothing to do with my message. You think that we're going to talk about this instead of the actual issues? We're going to talk about this instead of people today go to a job that they hate. They come home to a job to a life they don't love. They sedate themselves. They distract themselves. Most people just don't fucking like their lives. You think we're going to talk about this instead of that? We're going to talk about like these easy, accessible things to do to go kick ass. And you think we're going to talk about this? People would just straight up say, "Hey, are you on steroids?" And I would just say, "Hey, did you know 4,000 people a day kill themselves?" Which one you want to talk about?
You would also say like, no, I'm not.
Oh, 100%. But I'm giving you examples of.
You know what's more effective though? You telling your personal story. Like
I know that.
That like now like.
Bro, you don't even know you're getting to know my personal story. I hope to be able to share some stuff today.
Please.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. Like, I genuinely want to know.
So my kids said, my kids asked why, and a lot of what I shared on the apology video was just kind of a replica of what I shared with my kids. But really, I think what it all comes down to, like the real why, is I got to crush myself in the gym multiple times a day, just to feel like I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm worth it. Like I fucking earned it. And trust me, this is not like just one time a day. Like this is multiple times a day. And somebody said, okay, why do you gotta do all that shit? And I'm like, oh my God, you know what? I've never dealt with this before. And again, this is a silver lining. Now I have the chance to go deep.
Yeah.
When I talk about my 10 to 15-year-old self, when you guys fucking understand, the first day of middle school for me was some fucking guy who looked like he was 35 with a mustache and everything. Hawks a loogie on his fucking hand, smacks me in the face, and I didn't know what the fuck, where I was. But what would happen at least once a week is I just got blindsided, I'd get knocked out, and I would wake up, and I'd have my book bag, the bell had already rung, nobody's in the hallway, and I gotta figure out, okay, what fucking period is it? And this is my entire fucking middle school. Not once did I stand up for myself. Not once did I fight back or push. And when the guys would come, I would just walk back, step back, and say, you don't want to fight me, I'm a pussy. And this is true, and I thought for years, I was like, I'm gonna take that shit to the grave. I think a real defining moment for me was in middle school. This kid, Chris, challenged me to a fight. For him to enter into a gang, he had to get into a fight. So some people told me about this thing, and I'm like, well, why would I do that? Well, I've never gotten in a fight. You think I'm gonna fight in front of a whole fucking gang and do all this shit, And so I immediately was like, of course I'm not gonna do this. My brother happened to be around, who's an older brother. He was with a friend, Justin, and his mom. And his mom said, you have to do this. And my dad died when I was a little kid, and I don't have any memory of him. I had never had a male mentor in my life, but she said, you gotta do this. Justin said, you gotta do this. My brother said, you gotta do this. Hey, you're strong. And I'm thinking, I can't believe you guys are fucking tricking me into doing this. She drives me to the fight in her white Econoline van. And I remember getting out of this van, my heart was beating 1,000,000 miles a fucking minute. I see him, I see it looked like 30 people, I'm sure it was 15 behind him. And I remember walking up to him really fast. And I remember I'm just gonna give it everything I got. And I came a mile fucking back here, and I was probably a mile away from this guy. And I swung so fucking hard, I threw myself to the ground. So I'm on the ground. He's coming up to me, to kick me. And everyone wore steel-toe boots back then. And so he's coming up to kick me. And as he's coming up to kick me, I picked him up and I manhandled him. And I realized how fucking strong I am. And then I was able to mount him. And I was able to pin his elbows, his arms under my knees. And I had my left hand on his neck, and I had my right hand cocked back, and I looked in his eyes. And I saw how helpless, how hopeless, how pathetic, how scared he was. And I saw myself. And I couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't do it. And I remember getting up, kind of running back to the van. And when I got in, everyone was kind of proud of me. Everyone was throwing rocks at the van. The windshield got cracked. And I was so worried about her van. And she looked back at me. Justin's mom looked back at me, and she's like, she said she's proud of me. And you know what I knew right then? I was like, you know what is fucking worthless? Is I had felt what seemed like my whole life.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
And if I could do that, what else am I capable of doing?
So that was the spark.
You know what? Again, I know I haven't dealt with this because...
Wait, did you get to join the gang? Like, how did...
No. And sometimes I think, God damn, I should have just done it. I would have gotten so much more respect if I had just done that. And that guy, when I let him up, he didn't come after me because he fucking knew.
You knew what time it was, yeah.
He knew.
I have way more respect for you doing it like that. I could fuck you up. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But you know what, like, so I doubled down then on working. I'd already been working out for a while.
Right.
But now I doubled down on that. You
Yeah.
know, now I'm like, oh my God, I can actually control outcomes in my life. And well, fast forward all these years, that's not changed. You know, it's like, I still need to do that to feel, I don't go to sleep at night feeling pathetic. What I do is what's required of me to do is to kill myself, to crush myself, to destroy myself enough times to be like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah. Like, to me, this is way more relatable. And I think that, like, I think, you know, you said a couple things.
Well, first of all, I didn't know any of this. You know, like,
of course, you're processing it, you're becoming
well,
self-aware.
people are asking why, and I'm like, well, I don't know, because I got to get in the gym. Well, why do you got to do that? I'm like, I don't fucking know until
recently. But I think you said something interesting, like you grew up without a father. You didn't have, like, so to me, you're becoming like the almost cartoonish version of what a man is, right? But it's lacking the vulnerability that we connect with.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
And like a lot of times we don't notice that. Like I remember with my wife, I'll tell you a personal story with my wife. We were trying to have a kid. The first month we're trying to have a kid. We didn't have a kid. The first month, my wife is a little bit type A or whatever that shit is. Like it needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful we didn't have a kid first because I was doing a lot of drugs earlier in that month. So our kid would have been fucking whack, right? Like that.
Yeah.
But
that's how all of ours were conceived. We were partying like crazy, by the way. That's why they are the way they are.
well, look at there.
No actual drugs, just a lot of alcohol. And they're great, by the way.
Good cover up. Liver Queen, calm down.
Did you see her? Oh my God.
Like alcohol. Yeah. Okay, but so we got this test done on my sperm, right? And my sperm is great except for like grade of motility or something like that. I don't even know what the fuck it is. She's calling around, oh, it's how fast they swim or something like that. She's freaking out, right? And my reaction to her is machismo. It is, hey, we're gonna be great. Don't worry, we got this. I'm like, yo, if you want to do more tests or go to a specialist, but don't worry, I know for a fact we got this. She's interpreting that as I'm not taking this seriously.
You don't care.
And I don't care. What I'm doing is covering up my vulnerability, which is, will she not love me if I can't get her pregnant? Will she think I'm less of a man? Will my wife not be attracted to me? So I'm trying to cover up the real feeling I have, right? Which is being terrified that the woman I love could stop loving me because I can't do this fucking primal thing. I shared that with her the other night. She fucking started crying. So I would never think differently, whatever. And I wish that I led with the vulnerability. To me, I'm really glad that you're coming on right now and like saying the true reasons why you're even pushing this lifestyle. It's to cover something up. You said that it was like 85% of people deal with like low self-esteem. You're wrapping your self-esteem into something that I think is unhealthy. Yeah. You have a wife, you have a family, you have successful businesses. You don't need to lift heavy shit 2 times a day to feel good about you. Were you a good dad that day?
Yeah.
Were you good to your friends? Did you care about people?
Yeah.
Did you provide for people? Like, those are the things that I'm looking at and going, that's a king, not someone who can fucking bench press.
Yeah.
Because if bench pressing makes you a man, what the fuck am I? But I think I'm a good man.
Yeah.
So maybe part of the ancestral tenets is recognizing what you're doing and how you are being a good man, which is providing and loving the people and caring for the people around you.
Right.
You know, maybe that's something that you need to take note of, man. And
Beautiful.
Leading with that fucking vulnerability that has really transformed this interview.
Yeah.
You telling me the things you went through, all the suicides that you had to deal with, made that real, not an excuse when you said it. I think vulnerability is the only thing we can connect to as human beings. We look up to the person who seems infallible, but we don't connect to them.
No.
I feel more connected to you now, man.
Thank you for sharing.
Despite your stink.